Okay, so now that we've looked at this example of Haydn string quartet style, now we're going to look at the melody that you're actually going to harmonize. So you'll notice, first of all, that the form is the same. So we start with this main theme here with an anacrusis, except for this time, Haydn does keep those eighth notes on beat 3 leading into the next measure, as opposed to disrupting them. So you have ba-da-dum, bum, ba-da-dum, bum, ba-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-dum. Okay, so that's the A. And then you'll see here's the repeat, and then we have this B section. Dun, da, 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 dum, ba, da, 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 dum. And you'll notice we have that kind of broken record effect here, where we have that repetition. Again, that's kind of one of Haydn's ways of creating some humor for utilizing that repetition. So that B theme comes back, and then again we get this A, and then we repeat it. So again, that creates that sense of rounded binary, which is typical of scherzo and trios or minuet and trios. Okay, so then what you're going to do is you're going to take this and say, okay, we're in the key of E flat major, and you're going to just first start with, okay, what will we harmonize these two quarter notes with? Well, there's an E flat there and a G. So it would make sense that since we're in E flat major that we would harmonize that with a 1 chord in the other 3 voices. And remember, you're doing a violin 2 part, a viola part, and a cello part that would go with this melody. Now, this is not a second violin part in red here. It is just a double stop for a violin 1 player. So violin 1s can play the F while they also play the C flat to B flat 8th notes below it. Okay, so that's just a different technique for violin. So that's just all violin 1. So you would create a harmonization of, this whole thing. And by the way, I only gave you the first part, the scherzo. I didn't give you the trio, so you only have to do the first part of this movement in terms of harmonization. Okay, so then looking at this chord here, we have an F and an A flat. So you could put the A flat and double that somewhere down in the other voice and put F A flat C, which would be a 2 chord, or a 2/6. You could also do D F A, which would be a 7 diminished. So that would create a different chord. So you can decide which you feel like is best. So either D F A flat or F A flat C, the minor 2 or the diminished 7. And then you could also use one of those as a 7th, but I would recommend against that. Okay, so then you could also look at this chord then here. We have a B flat and an F. So if you did a 2 chord here, that would lead naturally to a 5, which would be working in that case. All right, so that at least gets you started of what notes you would need. So if you did choose the 1 chord, E flat, G, B flat, you would need those 3 notes, and then think about what you would want to double there for the other voices. Although you don't have to be quite as strict with the part writing because this is Haydn and not like Bach chorale style, so you do have a little bit more freedom, but you still do want the chords to progress naturally from one to the next. So with the 2 chord here, you'd have F A flat C, or if you wanted to use the 7, it could also go to the 5, whichever you feel like would sound better. You can try both and see which one you like better. And after that, see how you could use these little 8th notes and how to harmonize those. You could use them with imitative polyphony and do a different line going up, or you could kind of keep this unison like we talked about. Haydn didn't harmonize every single measure and then put the harmony back in here. That would be an option. You could do some imitative polyphony from this descending line here. So experiment with ways to harmonize these different notes using the Haydn techniques that we talked about and also the harmonization techniques we did yesterday. And you have a full week to complete this assignment. So I would have a rough draft done by the end of Friday today, and then you can work through that throughout next week for your final draft.